Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today with my top 3 most disappointing games of 2016. Now normally I don't make these types of videos, but this year I decided to make the jump and say screw it, it's my own opinion and hopefully my viewers will respect it. With that said, these are not my 3 worst games, keyword not my 3 worst games of 2015, because to be honest this year wasn't half bad for gaming. But there were some games that really had that unrealized potential, those games that could have been great but just completely flopped. And so that's what I'm going to be highlighting today, so if a difference in opinion isn't your thing, then X out the video. Now, let's get on with this. Number 3, Battlefield Hardline. This is a game I originally gave my stamp of approval for, but man, this game just died off and got swept under the rug so fast it was unbelievable. I originally really enjoyed Battlefield Hardline, but the community died off so fast, and I in turn lost interest as well because there was no one playing this game. I was actually recording this specific video beforehand and was claiming that there wasn't DLC because I had no idea. I went online and found out that there was actually 4 DLC packs for this game coming out. No promotion for this game. And that's mainly because Battlefield 4 is still getting DLC, which I understand. A lot of people are still salty about the fact that Battlefield 4 was broken at launch, and they've done a great job fixing the game since. But since that's a superior Battlefield game, now it's like Battlefield overkill, but 4 is still somehow overshadowing Hardline, mainly because it's DICE versus Visceral Games. And I get it, it's an in-betweener game, so it's not going to be as good, and it's by a different studio, so it's kind of doomed from the start, right? You know, you think of it like Elder Scrolls Online in between Skyrim and Fallout 4. But still, man, this game could have been something cool because the cops and robbers theme and a shooter sounded really awesome, and especially in the Battlefield franchise, but this game just really had nothing going for it. Especially because in my experience with the weaker 2 I played of this game, it really ended up being broken after a while. On to number 2, and this one may surprise you a little bit because this may be on some people's top games of the year, or maybe some of the games that surprised them. For me though, it was a bit disappointing, and that is Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Assassin's Creed Syndicate could have been awesome for me, okay? For me. I did not watch a single promotional material on this game. I didn't even know the setting for this game. That's how blind I was going into Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Ubisoft had all the opportunity to surprise a longtime fan like me because I intentionally said, I'm not gonna look at a single promotional material for this game. I'm gonna let it surprise me. And it didn't. Nothing new was in this game. Revamped combat. It was just mashing square the same time as last game, and then countering every now and then. Just new animations though. I'll admit the little zipline thing, that was pretty cool. That caught me off guard. But the story is that same dull thing. It just is the same old, same old. That's why I'm really excited about the news that they may be taking a year off of Assassin's Creed in the sense of those main series entries. Obviously, we have Chronicles coming out, but those main series entries need work. This series was fantastic at one point and still has the potential to be so because there is still, surprisingly, that heavy interest in the game and where it's going to be set every single time. But with that said, it just didn't turn out well in my opinion because as I've stated, it could have surprised me. It had every chance in the world to do something good for me and allow me to give it that stamp of approval. I gave it all the chances it possibly could, and still in the end I was just like, I'm so upset with this game. And then finally at number 1, the one that's probably on everyone's worst game of the year list, most disappointing game of the year list. You would not be surprised by this at all, as you know I'm a diehard fan of the franchise, Star Wars Battlefront, or as my boy Black Okage would call it, Battle Flop. Star Wars Battlefront was so bad even for what EA standards are nowadays. You get what I'm saying? Like EA, some people have hope in them like me that they'll turn it around someday. Some people just think they're abysmally terrible and that they will never do a thing right. And then Battlefront somehow managed to sink lower than those people's expectations who thought nothing of them in the first place. I don't get it when it comes to a game developer that you think that making these nice graphics and these cool aesthetics is how you sell a video game. In my honest opinion, the way you sell a game is by giving it a soul, giving it that core life, that good hook to it, and then things like good graphics and a great atmosphere and nailing the movie aesthetics are all things that add on to it. It makes a good game turn into great with those additional features. You don't start off with good graphics and nice sound effects and say, that's a great game. No, you give it a story, you give it interesting game modes, you give it solid online multiplayer, and then you add on to it those nice graphics, those awesome sound effects, and now it goes from this standard Star Wars shooter to something even greater and more authentic. But this game, man, it's like, of course, you know, it just had to flop. And it kills me to say because I wanted to like this game so bad. And I feel like I've said that for all these games on this list, but Battlefront was that one in particular. I think everyone can sympathize with me when they say that they grew up with this game, they played all the Battlefronts, and they were so excited for this regardless of who was on the cover. There was like no way they could fuck this up because there was a roadmap printed out for EA and DICE saying this is how people enjoyed the games. Copy it, make your own changes to it, you're good to go. But instead, they decided to be stubborn, work on something on their own, and it ended up failing. And it still bothers me that this game made $13 million. Like, I'm happy for EA and DICE's success, but seriously, it's like, is anyone listening to reviewers out there? This game is not good. If you want to, you can look up the stats for this game. It's already dying. It's below 100,000 people playing online concurrently in all systems combined. But yeah, that'll top off my top 3 disappointing games of the year. It's a video I just felt I had to make. I'd love to hear your top 3 disappointing games in the comments down below, so be sure to hit me with them. Other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. Those links are also down below in the description. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.